the revolution starting off and St. Lucians being all for the revolution of liberté, égalité, fraternité. And St. Lucia was one of the few islands that supported the revolutionary government in France. So they changed our name to Saint Lucie La Fidèle, and the other towns, Castries, La Félicité. And Dauphin became Ville de la Nation, which is how Dauphin was called. But there was more trouble coming behind. So the names were changed about 1793, and the same year, war was declared between France and Britain. The British came in 74. There were troubles because the lands of people were confiscated. Everybody turned against the British, including the slaves. Agents were sent from Guadeloupe to mobilize people in a revolutionary way and agitating propaganda and so. And in 1795, you had a big slave uprising throughout the island. And 7 of the 11 towns and villages were burnt to the ground. Some of them were completely destroyed, like Dauphin and Pralin. They were never rebuilt. So you had the estates and the towns being burnt down during that tumultuous period of time in our history. And Dauphin never really recovered from that. And even today, Dauphin is one of the poorer areas of the countries. Ecologically, it's been devastated because once sugar was finished, people eked out a marginal living of cassava growing, cutting firewood to send to grocery and so on. And that area still is now a depressed area.
Waves are caused by winds. The swash of a wave is always more powerful than the backwash because it has the force of the breaking wave behind it. When waves break at a rate of 10 or less a minute, each breaking wave is able to run its course without interference from the wave behind it. These waves are called constructive waves. When waves break more frequently, especially over 15 a minute, then the backwash of a wave runs into the swash of the wave behind. The force of the swash is therefore reduced in comparison with the force of the backwash. These waves remove pebbles and sand from a coast. They are destructive waves.
It looks ridiculously steep.
As you walk through the bush, you'll still see the remnants of this dry scrub forest, especially you didn't walk around in the more lush south, but you did in the northern area. So you'll find the cactus and the tea-balm and that dry scrub forest that you get along the shoreline. The interesting part about Dauphin, again comes back to our history, is that it was one of the areas where you found living remnants of the early people in the form of rock drawings called petroglyphs and rock-cut basins called batitas. Now, it's hard to know exactly who did them or when. However, you know that they were built from the early people, by the early people who came from South Africa, because the same designs and the same motifs occur all the way from the Amazon, go all the way up to Cuba. You can see similar designs, similar motifs. So we know it's a common culture. And when you link that with the culture of the cassava, you know that this was one huge cultural area that was together.
A staff or stick to prod the ground and foliage ahead of you is important, as it may be the only way to detect snakes or holes under the grass.